You never feel the knife go in. That is the design. If an enemy screams in your face, if they threaten you, if they raise a fist, you are safe. Your body floods with adrenaline. Your pupils dilate. You prepare for war. The threat is visible, and because it is visible, it is manageable. But the people who will truly destroy you, the ones who will dismantle your sanity, drain your bank account, and leave you staring at a ceiling fan at 3 a.m. wondering where you lost your soul. They don't scream, they whisper. They don't frown, they smile. Machiavelli once famously said that a man who wishes to make a profession of goodness in everything must necessarily come to ruin among so many who are not good. Read that again. If you are operating under the assumption that everyone around you has a conscience, you are not kind, you are food. Most of you are walking through a jungle with your eyes closed, believing it's a garden. You are projecting your own empathy onto predators who view your emotions not as shared experiences, but as levers to be pulled. Today, we are going to perform an autopsy on the 3 most dangerous personality types in existence. These are not the serial killers on the news. These are the people sleeping next to you, the people signing your paychecks, the people you call friend. I'm going to show you the cracks in their mask. I will give you the eyes to see what is hidden in plain sight. But be warned, once you learn to spot these types, you will never be able to unsee them. You will look at your circle, and you will realize you have been feeding a viper. Before we dissect the 3 archetypes, you must understand the environment. We live in a culture that fetishizes authenticity. Just be yourself, they tell you. Be vulnerable. This is terrible advice. Machiavelli understood that human interaction is theater. The most dangerous individuals in history didn't look like monsters. They looked like saviors. They mastered the art of appearance. Dr. Robert Hare, the pioneer of psychopathy research, calls this the mask of sanity. It is a camouflage so perfect that it blinds your intuition. Why do you miss the red flags? Because you don't want to see them. To acknowledge that someone you love is a predator requires you to admit 2 painful things. 1, that you were fooled. 2, that the world is colder than you hoped. So you make excuses for them. He's just stressed. She didn't mean it that way. They had a hard childhood. You are rationalizing your own destruction. The 3 types I am about to show you rely on this rationalization. They need your benefit of the doubt to survive. Let's strip that away. The first type is the most difficult to spot because they hide behind the ultimate shield. Virtue, I call this type the benevolent saboteur. In the corporate world, they are the concerned middle manager. In the family dynamic, they are the martyr. In Machiavellian terms, this is the fox disguised as the shepherd. Their defining trait is covert aggression. Dr. George Simon wrote extensively about this. Covert aggression is the art of inflicting damage while retaining the appearance of innocence. If you confront them, you look like the crazy one. You look paranoid. Here is how they operate. They do not attack you directly. That is too messy. It leaves fingerprints. Instead, they use concern as a Trojan horse for destruction. Imagine a workplace scenario. You are up for a promotion. You are the clear choice. The benevolent saboteur doesn't go to the boss and say, "Don't hire him, he's incompetent." That makes them look jealous. Instead, they go to the boss, close the door, lower their voice, and say, "I'm really rooting for your name. I just hope he can handle the pressure this time. You know how he gets when things get tight. I'd hate to see him burn out like last year. I'm just worried about his mental health." Do you see the elegance of the violence? On the surface, it looks like empathy. I'm worried, I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for him, but the subtext is fatal. They have planted a seed of doubt about your stability. They have framed your competence as fragility. If the boss decides not to promote you, the saboteur can look you in the eye and say, "I tried my best for you," and they will believe it. This is the key. They often believe their own mask. The saboteur uses a weapon called triangulation. They never have a problem with you directly. Everyone else does. "I don't mind that you're late, but the team is starting to talk. I love how free-spirited you are, but mom is really worried you're losing your way." They create a phantom army. They turn you against a group that might not even be angry with you. They isolate you. And who is the only person you can trust? The messenger, the saboteur, the micro-tell. How do you spot them before the knife is in your back? Watch how they deliver bad news. A normal person feels discomfort when delivering pain. They hesitate, their eyes drop. They want to get it over with. The benevolent saboteur lingers. Watch their mouth. There is often a micro-expression of duping delight. A fleeting suppressed smile when they tell you that you failed or that people are gossiping about you. They feed on the emotional reaction. They want you to break down so they can comfort you. Why? Because when they are comforting you, they are above you. It is a power dynamic. They don't want to destroy you completely. They want to clip your wings just enough so that you can never fly away from them. They need you broken but functional. A pet, if you see someone whose help always leaves you feeling smaller, whose advice always makes you doubt your sanity. Run, this is not love, this is ownership. The second personality type is louder but equally misunderstood. We often assume that people want peace. We assume that everyone wants a calm, stable life. This is a fatal projection. There is a subset of the population that is allergic to peace. Their nervous system is wired differently. Silence feels like death to them. They need high-intensity emotion to feel alive, even if that emotion is negative. I call this type the entropy engine. You know this person, when they enter a room, the temperature changes, there is always a crisis, a medical emergency that doesn't add up, a feud with a neighbor, a stolen wallet, a treacherous ex-lover. Every day is the season finale of a drama series where they are the star. In Dangerous Personalities, Joe Navarro discusses the unstable personality. But the entropy engine is specific. They don't just suffer from chaos, they manufacture it. Why? Because chaos creates a vacuum of logic. And in a vacuum of logic, the loudest emotion wins. If you are a logical stoic person, you are the perfect target for the entropy engine. You are the fuel. They will do something irrational. You will try to make sense of it. You will try to fix it. Why did you spend the rent money? Why did you tell my secrets to that stranger? You will spend hours explaining, arguing, pleading, using logic. And while you are exhausted, depleted, and confused, they are energized. They are feeding off your regulation. They are vampires of stability. The mechanism, the shifting goalpost. You cannot win an argument with an entropy engine because the argument is not about the topic. The argument is about the adrenaline. If you prove them wrong on point A, they will immediately pivot to point B. Okay, maybe I didn't pay the bill, but remember 3 years ago when you looked at that waitress. You clearly don't love me. It is dizzying. It is designed to be dizzying. This is what psychological researchers call word salad. It is a circular, nonsensical stream of accusations, projections, and irrelevant facts designed to short-circuit your critical thinking. Machiavelli advised that a prince should sometimes invoke fear to maintain control. The entropy engine uses fatigue to maintain control. They wear you down until you agree to anything just to make the noise stop. Fine, you're right, I'm sorry. Just stop screaming. In that moment, you have handed over your sovereignty. You have taught them that if they create enough chaos, you will submit. The warning sign. The entropy engine often reveals themselves early, but you mistake it for passion or intensity. They will tell you, I hate drama. Rule of thumb. Anyone who feels the need to announce that they hate drama is almost certainly the source of it. They will have a history of crazy exes. If one ex was crazy, that's bad luck. If all their exes were crazy, you are looking at the common denominator. They will test your boundaries with small bursts of disrespect, disguised as jokes or accidents. They show up an hour late. They forget your wallet. They make a scene in a restaurant. They are calibrating. They are checking to see how much chaos you will tolerate. If you stay, you are signing a contract. You are accepting a role as the stabilizer for their instability. But here is the dark truth. You cannot stabilize them. You are a bucket trying to fill a black hole. The more love you pour in, the more it disappears. And eventually, when you are empty, when you are a shell of your former self, they will discard you. Why? Because you are no longer fun. You are boring, you are depressed. They will move on to a fresh, full battery, and they will tell the new person that you were the crazy one. Take a breath. I want you to pause the video in your mind for a second. Is there a face that appeared in your head while I was describing these two types? A coworker, a partner, a family member. That tightness in your chest, that is your instinct trying to break through years of conditioning. You have been told to be nice. Niceness is a social construct. It is compliant, it is agreeable. Machiavelli argues for virtue, not virtue in the Christian sense, but effectiveness, capability. Being nice to a predator does not make them nice. It makes them well-fed. The third type we are about to discuss is the rarest, but by far the most lethal. The first two types, the saboteur and the entropy engine, are driven by human needs, power, attention, validation. The third type is different. They don't want your validation. They don't have a need in the way you understand it. They are hollow, and because they are hollow, they can become whatever you need them to be until it is too late. This is the type that breaks the strongest men and women. This is the type that leaves no bruises, only ghosts. Let's descend to the bottom of the well. The third type is the Machiavellian ideal, realized in the darkest possible way. I call this third type the mirror. In clinical terms, You might see overlap with the psychopath or the extreme narcissist, but the mirror describes the methodology more than the diagnosis. The mirror has no fixed identity. Robert Greene in the 48 Laws of Power talks about the power of formlessness. Accept no limits, accept no defined shape. Most people are rigid. You have preferences, morals, political views, hobbies. The mirror has none of these, or rather they have all of them, depending on who they are sitting across from. When you first meet the mirror, it feels like destiny. It feels like magic. You love 19th century French poetry. I was just reading Baudelaire. You felt abandoned by your father. My childhood was exactly the same. You hate corporate culture. I've been planning to quit and live in a van. 2. You think you have found your soulmate. You haven't, you have found a reflection. They are data mining you. In the early stages called the love bombing phase, they are downloading your personality. They are studying your micro-expressions. They are learning your deepest insecurities and your highest desires. Why? To build a custom-made mask that fits perfectly over your expectations. The mirror gives you exactly what you feel you were denied in life. If you were neglected, they give you obsessive attention. If you were controlled, they give you wild freedom. If you felt stupid, they treat you like a genius. This is not affection, this is seduction. And as Machiavelli notes, men are so simple that the deceiver will always find someone ready to be deceived. The trap, once they have hooked you, once you are chemically addicted to the validation they provide. The mask slips, but it doesn't fall off. It shifts. The mirror begins to withhold the very things they gave you. The text messages stop coming instantly. The praise turns into subtle criticism. I love that you're so ambitious, but do you think you're being a little unrealistic? You panic, you double down. You try harder to get back to that perfect beginning. You start chasing the reflection, and this is where the feeding begins. The mirror feeds on control. They enjoy watching you twist yourself into knots trying to please them. It confirms their superiority. To them, you are an object, a toy. Dr. Martha Stout, author of The Sociopath Next Door, explains that the defining characteristic of a sociopath is the complete absence of conscience. Imagine that. No guilt, no remorse, no anxiety about hurting others. Imagine what you could do if you had no conscience. You could look a crying lover in the eyes and feel nothing or perhaps mild amusement. You could ruin a colleague's career and go eat a sandwich with perfect appetite. The mirror operates in this state. They are not burdened by the emotional gravity that holds you down. How do you spot a mirror before they consume you? Look for the two perfect alignment. Human beings are messy. We have friction. We disagree. If someone agrees with everything you say, if they have every same interest, if the connection feels effortless and instantaneous, be terrified, look for the dead eyes. This sounds poetic, but it is biological. When a normal person smiles, the orbicularis oculi muscles contract. The eyes crinkle. The mirror often smiles only with their mouth. The eyes remain flat, predatory, reptilian. They are watching you react to the smile. Look for the history of reinvention. Does this person have long-term friends, or do they have a series of distinct lives that don't touch each other? I used to live in London, then I was a chef in Peru, then I worked in finance in Tokyo. Maybe they are adventurous, or maybe they burned every bridge in those cities and had to reset the simulation. The mirror leaves a trail of charred bodies, but they never look back at the explosion. Now you see them, the benevolent saboteur, the entropy engine, the mirror. You are likely feeling a cold realization in your gut. You have identified the infection. Now you want the cure. You want to know how to fight them. You want to know how to expose them, how to win the argument, how to make them see the pain they caused you. Stop, this is your ego talking, and your ego is going to get you killed. You cannot win against these personality types. You cannot fix them. You cannot expose them without getting mud on your own soul. To fight a pig, you must get in the mud. The pig likes the mud, you do not. Machiavelli taught that war should be the last option. But when you must fight, you must be decisive. However, with these specific psychological profiles, the only winning move is not to play. But you cannot just disappear. Not always, they are your bosses, your co-parents, your landlords. So you must learn the art of strategic invisible warfare. You must become unpalatable. You must become a ghost while you are still in the room. Here is the playbook. The first strategy is well known in survivor circles, but it is rarely executed with the necessary precision. It is called the gray rock method, but I want to teach you the Machiavellian version. Standard gray rock means being boring. Machiavellian gray rock means becoming a psychological void. These types, especially the entropy engine and the mirror, feed on supply. Supply is emotion. It doesn't matter if you're screaming "I hate you" or crying "I love you." To them, it is the same currency. It is attention. It confirms they exist. It confirms they have power over you. When they provoke you, they are handing you a hook. They are waiting for you to bite. Do not bite. When the saboteur whispers a passive-aggressive insult, do not defend yourself. Do not get angry. Simply look at them, pause for 3 seconds and say okay. Then go back to work. When the entropy engine creates a crisis that sounds stressful, then walk away. You must flatten your affect. Monotone voice, no eye contact, no interesting answers. Become as interesting as a gray rock in a driveway. How was your weekend? Fine. Did you hear what they said about you? No, you are starving the beast. When a predator chases prey, it makes a calculation. Energy expenditure versus caloric reward. If you provide 0 emotional calories, you are not worth the hunt. They will prod you. They will escalate. They will try to get a rise out of you. Hold the line. Eventually, they will get bored, and a bored predator moves on to easier prey. The second strategy is the information diet. Information is ammunition. Every dream you share, every fear you confess, every detail about your past is a weapon they will store in their arsenal to use against you later. The benevolent saboteur uses your insecurities to undermine you. The mirror uses your desires to manipulate you. From this moment forward, you are a vault. Machiavelli said, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." Stop oversharing. Stop believing that venting is safe. If you are dealing with these types, they should not know your next move, your financial status, your relationship troubles, your biggest fears when you speak. Speak in generalities. Use what the military calls the fog of war. Be vague, be ambiguous. If they ask, "What are you planning for your career?" you say, "I'm keeping my options open." If they ask, "Are you mad at me?" you say, "I've just been busy." You deny them the data they need to build a simulation of you. If they cannot predict you, they cannot control you. Power rests on the ability to anticipate the other person's move. Be unpredictable by being unreadable. Sometimes gray rock is not enough. Sometimes the danger is physical, financial, or deeply psychological. You have to leave. But leaving a dark personality type is the most dangerous time in the relationship. Psychologists call this third strategy extinction burst. When a toddler realizes a tantrum isn't working, they don't stop immediately, they scream louder. When you try to leave a controller, they will escalate, they will threaten suicide, they will destroy your property, they will launch a smear campaign to destroy your reputation before you can tell your story. You must be prepared. Machiavelli advises that if an injury has to be done to a man, it should be so severe that his vengeance need not be feared. This sounds violent. In our context, it means total severance. You cannot stay friends. You cannot keep the door open. You cannot have one last coffee for closure. Closure is a myth. They will use that coffee to hook you back in. Block the number, block the email. Block the friends who act as their flying monkeys. You must disappear from their reality. It feels cruel. You are an empathetic person. You will feel guilt. Am I being too harsh? Maybe they can change. Listen to me. The guilt you feel is a programmed response. They installed that button. Cutting off a gangrenous limb is not cruel. It is survival. If you hesitate, if you look back, you turn to salt. Burn the bridge, watch it burn. Then turn around and walk toward the horizon. Why? Why do these people exist? And more importantly, why do we let them in? This is the part that hurts. This is the part most channels won't tell you. We attract these types not because we are just too nice, but because we have a void of our own. The mirror can only reflect what is standing in front of it. If they showed you a savior, it is because you were desperate to be saved. They adapt. They become whatever is required to gain access. When you meet them, the connection feels uncanny. Effortless, perfect, as if you have finally been understood. They reflect your values, your pain, your aspirations with unsettling precision. You feel seen in a way you never have before. That feeling is the hook. What you are experiencing is not intimacy. It is mirroring. They are collecting data. They are studying your reactions. They are identifying your unmet needs. And then they build a persona tailored to fill those gaps. This creates a chemical bond. Dopamine, oxytocin, relief, hope. Once attached, they begin to withdraw. Not suddenly, gradually, just enough to destabilize you. You chase the initial connection. You try to earn back the version of them that felt perfect. And in doing so, you surrender control. Your mood becomes dependent on their approval. Your sense of self becomes negotiable. These individuals do not seek validation. They seek dominance. They do not argue to be understood. They argue to destabilize. They do not hurt you impulsively. They hurt you surgically. And when confronted with pain they have caused, they do not respond with guilt. They respond with curiosity or irritation. Your suffering is either irrelevant or amusing. They can discard relationships without grief. They can rewrite history without hesitation. They leave behind confusion rather than closure. And the damage they cause is not visible. It is internal. It manifests as self-doubt, mistrust, and a fractured sense of reality. Once you recognize these patterns, the instinct is to fight, to expose, to confront, to demand accountability. This instinct is understandable and dangerous. These personalities are not defeated through moral argument. They do not play on the same field. Confrontation feeds them. Explanation gives them material. Emotional reactions confirm influence. The most effective response is disengagement without drama, strategic withdrawal, emotional starvation. You remove the reward structure. You stop reacting. You stop explaining. You stop offering access to your inner world. This is not passive. It is disciplined. You become unreadable. Predictability is vulnerability. Oversharing is ammunition. You respond minimally. You offer no emotional fuel. You create distance without announcement. And if leaving is necessary, you do so decisively. Not with closure conversations. Not with final explanations. Those are openings. You disappear. You cut lines of access. You accept discomfort in exchange for safety. Guilt is a small price compared to prolonged erosion. The final realization is uncomfortable. These people enter our lives through openings we leave unguarded. Unresolved wounds, desire for approval, fear of conflict, hunger for connection. They exploit what is already there. This does not make you weak. It makes you human. But awareness changes the equation. You stop mistaking intensity for intimacy. You stop mistaking kindness for virtue. You stop offering trust without evidence. You learn that empathy without boundaries is self-harm. And you understand that power is not about control over others, but control over access to yourself. The world is not divided into good people and bad people. It is divided into those who are conscious of incentives and those who are not. When you become conscious, you stop being easy to use. You do not become cruel, you become precise. You choose where to invest energy. You choose who earns proximity, and you stop confusing familiarity with safety. That shift alone changes everything. And the last question is the one most people avoid because it threatens identity. Under pressure, under fear, under ambition, which of these patterns could you fall into? Because power reveals, stress exposes. And self-awareness is not about spotting monsters in others. It is about ensuring you do not become one when the situation rewards it. That is the real lesson Machiavelli left behind, and it ends her with drama. It is because you were bored with your own peace. These predators are not just enemies. In a dark, twisted way, they are teachers. They are heat-seeking missiles that find the cracks in your self-esteem. They show you exactly where you are broken. They show you exactly where your boundaries are weak. If you survive them, you become something else. You become awake. You realize that trust is not a gift you give to strangers. It is a loan that must be repaid with credit. You realize that empathy without boundaries is self-destruction. You stop looking for a savior. You become your own protector. The world is not a nursery. It is a landscape of competing interests. Most people are good, but the ones who are not. They are the ones who define your life. The Japanese act of kinugi involves repairing broken pottery with gold. The break is not hidden, it is highlighted. The object becomes more valuable because it has been broken. You have been broken, now fill the cracks with gold. Learn the lesson, close the door and never let them in again. But here is the thought I want to leave you with tonight. The thought that should keep you awake. We have spent 30 minutes analyzing them. The monsters, the manipulators. The others, it feels good to point the finger. It feels safe. But Machiavelli warns us that power corrupts, and the desire for control is universal in the right circumstances, under the right pressure, with the right justification. Which one of these types are you capable of becoming? Are you the saboteur hiding your envy behind concern? Are you the mirror shape-shifting to get what you want? The line between the victim and the villain is thinner than you think. And the most dangerous lie is the one we tell ourselves in the mirror. If this opened your eyes, understand this is only what I can show publicly. There are videos I cannot upload for everyone. There are aspects of dark psychology that I simply cannot discuss publicly on YouTube without being censored or demonetized. The algorithm suppresses the most powerful information. Those exist behind the join button. If you're still here, you're not like the others. Subscribe if you haven't, But if you want what's hidden, click the join button and step into the architect level. You will unlock exclusive, uncensored videos that dive into the deepest parts of the human psyche. Most won't, that's the point. Subscribe to more motivation.